Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Moin.
Dormirse en la cama, darse prisa en tu alma, ratoncito en el club, no heroica, club. Con Bell O'Malley, ratoncito.
Hello, everybody. Welcome, Crispin Demon Sub. Dan Lee. Nice of you to make it here. Hold on a sec. I need to turn down my music background. You won't be hearing music because last time I used quote-unquote copyright-free music. I've got a knack from YouTube when uploading the video, so I'll be muting that one. That's only for my ears now. Gerry sends his regards. He's having a little sleep now. He is a wee bit tired from 3 days of UK Games Expo, as was to be expected. I think nobody of us would have expected him to be up and running after having gone through that much work the last few days. Hello, Dutch. Welcome. So, I'm going to paint miniatures. Wanna see? Hold on. Where's my button? This desk is so cramped I can't see shit. Now we need light. Light. You might notice there's a new that's not working. Is that better? Yes, this is way more better. Can I get the brightness up? I don't think so. Let me see. There's a new... maybe we don't need? Because there will be... I think it'll be good. So I'm going to paint some miniatures. These here dudes and these here dudes, which are for Star Wars Legion, obviously. Do I want to zoom in a wee bit more for all those who already are past the advertisements? Let's see. Yeah, I think this is better. I could still... Where's the second remote? Oh, full of everything. Or I could just use this one and have more lights. Yeah, I think that'll will do. Hello, my dog Skip. Welcome. No Legion fire sale. First topic of the day. I've seen Asmodee doing a... Hello, Manda. Nice of you to jump in. Asmodee have done a rebranding of sorts. They made themselves a new logo and did a little 55-second company trailer. What you call it? And it looks terrible. Well, I say it looks terrible. It looks just like any other corporate soulless company video praising themselves for being so nice and family friendly. And I might even forgive them for trying such a thing if they had cared to translate the audio, which they didn't. So Asmodee America has basically the same video as Asmodee Germany, only difference being the text that pops up is translated, but the audio is all in American English. So why even bother translating anything? And I think my microphone is out, on its way out. It's almost cranked to full setting and I'm barely getting reading. Is the audio for you okay out there, or is it too... am I too silent? Not sure if there's anything I can do to push that even more. Nothing to see here. Let's see. Communication settings. There's a bit of leeway I still have. Oh no, that's much better now, I think. Let's leave it at that. Yes. Yeah, I'm guessing it's showing its age now. You might not want ASMR, but different people might want ASMR. So I'm now doing a little diluted wash for the Legion miniatures that are, what are they called again? I forgot. These snowtroopy good looking guys. So I hope all of you are doing some kind of hobby too. And I'm eagerly now awaiting the delivery of the Skelly Bobs, as some of you might have seen. Now, getting in here with some diluted wash to... Whoops. I need to put this on the other side. This is not working. To increase contrast on the recesses. Because I can't be bothered using a fine liner after everything. Oh, Amanda, you're struggling with health again. Hopefully nothing too serious, but more or less just an ordinary flu or something. Hello, Mr. Toros, welcome. Any of you lot have been to UK Games Expo already come down with concrud? I seem to remember someone in the Discord going, yep, already having runny nose, sore throat, etc., etc. So your guess is as good as mine. Which of the guys will be on the next weekender? I'm hoping Gerry could evade concrud this year. I do seem to remember that last year the team was a wee bit under the weather after everything. Oh, naughty, naughty. Can't be that sick if you're still making those kind of jokes, Amanda. But then again, there's some wisdom in that, I guess. Maybe? Yes, your mind isn't sick, but usually if your body is starting to bend over, for the lack of a better term, the mind is soon to follow. Contrast already getting better, especially compared directly to his brother. Yeah, I think I like that. Hello, Mr. the Wonky Goblin. No, you're not evading. Oh my god. Why is... Twitch is still a cunt. How do I can't seem to do anything about that currently. Yeah, Steven, I'm totally with you on that. I think the fact that Warren and Lloyd have been busy behind the scenes at Business Daddies is in the sense detrimental to the actual community page. We need some of their weirdness. That's not to say that the others aren't weird, but they're different weird. Especially Warren has a very special sense of humor, let's say. Yeah, I'm not sure how Twitch is thinking of you as ban evader, so maybe some other channel has banned you for reasons? I'm not sure. Hello, Mr. Zog. Yeah, big-headed dwarves in sheds and trains. Mushroom Man. And a lot of mutinous tutinous, which is something that needs to come back. Oh, by the way, have you lot watched the interview with Chris from for Doomsong? Have you noticed the fez? He wore the fez. All hail the fez. Huh. Well, if this is your first time, Wonky, maybe your username and or similar email address had been used before. I'm not sure how Twitch is monitoring bans and evasion of said bans. I couldn't tell. I'm guessing there will be some similarities. Maybe your IP address has a bad history, but then again, in an age of dynamic addresses, that's hardly anything to go by. The wonky gablin, that's a sound. Oh, when a name change, that's very much possible that there's Twitch is monitoring that, and but then again, for being a ban evader, you would have needed to be banned at some point. So still not quite sure how that works on Twitch's side, or maybe it's just a preemptive measure to make sure that moderators are keeping an eye out for people who are using just changed their usernames. But again, I'm not certain. I don't know for sure. I do this only for shits and gigglies and for fun. I'm not sure that you need to contact Twitch for that. I'm guessing after a while the new username will be just recognized as an ordinary username. Now, as I said, there's now Skelly Bobs on the way. Some of you might have read the community post I did on the YouTube channel. Reasoning because why it's a race, after I've talked to Nick from North Star Miniatures, I had a little think about how irritating it is to wait for something that is clearly still in production and in stock. So I ordered from a different vendor who had that in stock, and now it's on its way to me. And I'm really curious which of those two boxes gets here first, and if one of them is getting lost in transit for some weird, odd reasons. No, actually on the way, Dutch. Both parcels have been accounted for on the tracking app with DHL are inbound. No demon sub, no necromancy is involved in this, I hope. Though, given the state of some courier services, they might actually invoke undead with their driver's license, just to make sure that they are not making self-driving cars. Yeah, DHL within Germany is usually quite reliable. It's when it's getting outside the country that's what gets interesting. Because DHL in Germany is basically the old remnants of the Bundespost parcel service, so it's the old guard for a decent amount of employees. Not the drivers specifically, but the backbone. Oh, Temu terrain could be interesting if it appears at all. Wasn't there some kind of European restriction now for goods from these very cheap sellers? I didn't follow quite. And Wonky Goblin, I don't know which of the Skelly Bobs are the best. Hence why I got two. Two different boxes. One being the Oathmark from North Star Miniatures. And the other box being, well, the rather infamous ones that Gerry tells me are very bad and shouldn't be on the market at all. And talking about courier services, I've made the experience that it's usually not mainly the company that's bad, but it's bad luck if you get a bad driver, for the lack of better term. We had a driver for Hermes for the longest time. He was great. He would actually make sure you get your parcel and your neighbors. When he changed districts, for whatever reason, service quality went down the drain. Yeah, it's down to the drivers because they are the last in the food chain, and they really get the short end of the stick. Hello, Redverse, in case I forgot to say that. Voila! People say that. We'll see. We will see. If they are really that bad, it'll be an entertaining video for you lot. If they're not that bad, it will be a nice source of Skellybobs for me and my Frostgrave games. And on the plus side, since I've changed to a different seller for the Oathmark Skellybobs, I was able to order a pack of magic cards for magic spell cards, I should say, for Frostgrave, because that's something I really learned with the first game I did last week with my friend, or the week before. These cards are really important to have a set of, just to make sure you have your spells ready and at hand and can look at them at any time. Yeah, that's all everywhere the same, Taurus. The delivery drivers do get a fixed amount of money for a fixed amount of time, and they are told you need to deliver everything. And it's getting worse year by year. Didn't Hermes Delivery get a rename in the UK? What was it again? What something weird? Yeah, Amazon drivers and subcontractors. That's a completely different story. That's the weird company name I was forgetting. But to a degree, us consumers are responsible for that terrible service level that there is, because we want everything the next day and we want shipping to be as inexpensive as possible. So companies start saving money wherever they can to make cheap prices possible. And that got so out of hand that it now bites us in the rectum. At least that's my opinion on this matter. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Amanda. I don't mind waiting for my stuff 1 or 2 days if it actually arrives in a condition that's acceptable. And in regards of delivering parcels in a good shape, in my experience, Amazon drivers are the worst. Absolutely nightmare fuel. No, he didn't melt, but I asked him today if he was up for the task, and he said, "Yeah, we just arrive." And 2 hours ago, I got a message from him going, "I'm dozing off all the time. I'm going to go to bed early." So either he's now sitting watching the footy if there's anything on, or he's maybe sitting in his chair taking a nap. And since conventions are really exhausting at times, I'm absolutely for him to recover. I'm sure there's some kind of football somewhere that he's able to be watching. Maybe not anything in the English side of the channel, but somewhere someone is kicking a ball around. I'd imagine. And if not, all for the better, because then he can actually have a good night's sleep. Oh, Zork, that's another aspect. When a customer of mine ordered stuff from Amazon because they needed a special item the next day and it's nowhere available, and they order multiple quantities of a single item. They seem to be shipping from all over Europe, which is insane. I had one time they had ordered power supplies for PCs, two separate ones, same model, but two items, two counts of whatever, you know what I'm saying. And one came from within Germany and the other came from Italy. Which is, huh? Why? Good night, Dutch. Yeah, Taurus, I've heard that story or that complaint before, and I think to a degree we're seeing that here too. Not as bad, I think, yet. But that might just be my personal experience that isn't that as bad as other people's. And it's not just the postal services that are been run into the ground by companies and weird politicians. Let's say it that way. Privatization of public services is, in general, in my opinion, a very bad idea. And I think I'm not needing to tell that to anybody within the UK. Eight days traveling time for a letter. That's, yeah. That's an interesting time management. I think the biggest problem most people are having that they go and, yeah, but if the state, the government is providing service X, it must turn a profit. No, it mustn't. That's what taxes are for. You pay for the salary of the mailman when it's a government issued service. Same as police, firemen, emergency services, etc. They don't need to turn a profit. Imagine police and firemen need to be pressured into doing a profit. How would they make a profit? Would firemen start selling fire insurance? These are miniatures for Star Wars Legion. I'm sorry to say that the correct name at the moment escapes me, and since my desk is a cluttered mess, I can't even find the proper product. Hold on. Is it? I'll be with you in a moment. The Range Troopers. That's the ones, the Range Troopers. I'm not really sure at what point. I think they were in the Solo movie, and they had a an appearance in Andor, I think, but I might be wrong on that one. Oh, I seem to remember that, even though Fry and Laurie wasn't a thing here, but I've seen that in recent years on YouTube. Police making a profit. It's a fucking scary thing. Taurus, on railway, I can see the point when they say if railway is used as a means of transportation goods instead of using lorries, that part of railway should make some profit to be able to what you call it, do maintenance on tracks and all the things. I need a drink. Cheers. Here's to all the fellows who are now sleeping somewhere. Oh, hello, Eagle Mustache. Whoever you might be. When did you jump in? Didn't see you come in. Yeah, railways should be publicly owned, and roads and other services of similar nature. Now, where's my reference pictures for the other lads? There it is. This is going to be fun. Not. So the... Oops! There goes the brush. This needs to be blackened. That little part needs to be some kind of weird electric blue, boogaloo. And then there's a lot of black things to be painted. Why? Hold on a sec. Different reference picture, please. So on the reference pictures from Atomic Mass Games, where did that come from? The top, what you call it, ridge. Oh, welcome then, Eagle Moustache. So the top ridge here should be painted black. But on the reference pictures from Atomic Mass Games, they are not. So either I'm missing something, or they didn't do their research properly. Let's see if I can find different pictures. Well, that's from the sequels. We don't want that. Nope, even in the artwork, there's a black rim on top of the helmet. So, yeah, whoever painted those for Atomic Mass Games, didn't do a good job on researching how they should look, which is baffling, I feel. Hello, why aren't you not opening? Yeah, that's... You fucked up. Yeah, if it were only different, but they actually got it wrong because the black rim on top of the helmet is actually a thing throughout all uh, original trilogy helmets. So I'm not sure why they wouldn't paint it when it's clearly on the bloody artwork. Oh well. I need black. And maybe a different brush. Because this is going to be detail work now. Different brush, where are you? Let's use this one. Dwarves are reproducing by splitting hair. Well, welcome to our little irritating show then. Sorry for you to catch it the first time and not bask in the glory that is Gerry and his wisdom and his rants. I feel those are the best. According to Pratchett, they're not asexual. They're just very peculiar on who they allow to know what sex they are. Which is, I find, a very interesting way of putting it. Well, there should be around 200 and something with Gerry on, and I hope next week he will be not asleep on his sofa, but with us, enjoying rants and ramblies. Oh, this is going to be great. Maybe I should have primed them black. That would have made things way easier. But then again, where's the fun in that? Plus, I'm not trying to make Golden Demon level paint jobs here. I'm just an ordinary guy. Painting black pants on white troopers. Crispin has been awfully silent since ever he joined us at the beginning of the show. I'm guessing he either fall asleep, has to work, or is hopefully doing some hobby on his own. As some of you lot are, I'm guessing. Not just sitting there staring at the screen, waiting for me to say something terribly stupid. Oh, I feel I need to change brushes. This one seems to have a slight splitting hair problem for whatever reason. That could be very true, Mr. Moustache. I'm bad with names, even usernames, so you might give me a ring on the Mastodon and identify yourself. That's not good. Fresh brush. And speaking of temperatures, it's getting hot in here. We're at 27 degrees. Gerry would be dead by now. Or very, very drunk. Or both. Starting to regret life's decisions. Jeebus, is that hot. Watching your progress bar for installation is always nice. I do that for a living. No, that's because they're very self-centered, Zorg. Hence why politicians are asexual. And I really hope some of them don't reproduce. But I'm guessing that's nothing more but a wish on my part. So, black inside. I feel this needs some cleaning up later on. Yeah, I did see that, Amanda, that one of your loonies has thrown the towel. So, elections again? Or is there anything else that could happen? Elections in a couple of months. Well, good luck. I hope it goes well. Elections nowadays seem to be a wee bit of a hit and miss. Ours went rather poorly, from my understanding. Other people might think differently. So, Amanda, since you just got out of bed and are being sick again, are you still doing hobby currently, or are you just concentrating on getting back on your feet? Yeah, but just because they failed once, it doesn't mean they will fail again. Those tickets have a tendency to crop up again at the worst possible time. If in doubt, go 10 mil. It's easier to hide later and then put somewhere else. I'm still a bit scared of picking up the armored clash stuff to build and paint those. The 10 mil Lord of the Rings diorama really taught me details. So if anybody's ever telling you painting 10 mil is easier because there's less detail, fuck them. There's maybe less details, but the details that are there are way smaller and harder to catch. $50mm scale strikes me as a scale that where I potentially would still try to make something like eyes if I'm feeling up to it. But yeah. Not going there. Yes, that's the new dystopian wars thing. So, tiny, tiny stuff. Cheeky Amanda, painting a 15mm and not telling them. That's very naughty. I'm still very much undecided if I should use speed paints on the armored clash stuff, or if I should go with regular acrylics. I feel speed paints might not work on that small scale. Not the way I would like it to. Yeah, people usually don't read descriptions of anything. That's very much par for the course. For some reason, especially if they're on a site like Instagram or anything similar nature that's focused on showing stuff, people tend to ignore texts for whatever fucking reason. Yeah, it's not restricted to Instagram and those sites everywhere. And I'm not excluding myself, just to make that clear. I do have myself typed in questions only to see a second later, oh fuck, the information was there all along. There are no painting guidelines. That's the problem. Hence, Army Painter, Atomic Wars games painters can't really not follow anything that's not there. Though you would think that something that is so rigorously controlled by the license holder in regards to what you can do and what not, there would be some kind of painter's handbook, some guidelines. Amanda, if 10 mil isn't a challenge, go mad on 2 mil. Just paint some, what do you call it? Matchstick heads. So none of you is actually doing hobby right now, you lazy bastards. Or did I miss anybody in chat going, I'm doing hobby? I don't think so. PC gaming is a hobby. Yeah, that's true, my dog Skip. That's very much true. I should have made the question more specific regarding tabletop hobby. You're right. That's on me. Taurus is finishing highlighting on some 10 mil orc tunics. And the Wonky Goblin just finished work. Reading instruction is option B. Taurus, your orc miniatures are really looking nice, and if there would be any more time in the day, I might be tempted in building a fantasy 10 mil army just for the fun of it. But I really can't put more on my plate right now. And if it wasn't for that stupid idea of making a comparison video between Oathmark, Skellybobs, and Wallard, I wouldn't have done that either. But here I am. No. Especially not in 28 mil. And I don't know how points costs are calculated, but I think I have a sizable Warhammer Fantasy Battles Orc army sitting in the closet behind me, so there is no need to go further. What if one figures 10,000 points? By Games Workshop logic, that is a £1,000 miniature, which I'm not willing to pay. At least somewhere in the early days of my experiences with Games Workshop products, that seemed to be a calculation of price to some degree within the company. I'm not sure if that's still the case. I mean, I guess the character models are still very much expensive, but way back when the character models weren't usually that much bigger than a regular troop. Yeah, Charles, that's why I think what's getting me irritated on some games. Was it Saga with a very small digit numbers on points? I think it was. Oh, I see 20 models on the table. That's about 4 points. Uh-huh. But in all fairness, points costs for unit are so arbitrary numbers. They don't really matter. So I could just declare my own game system and tell everybody one orc is 1,000 points. So 120 orcs is more than enough. Make a 2,000 point army for Saga, for example. It really is a silly way of thinking of miniatures if people are using, for the most part, points values from one game system, which is 40k or Fantasy Battle / Age of Sigmar. I don't think I've heard anybody say, I've got oomph points of orcs for Saga or something. Yes, Taurus, that's exactly the thing I was thinking about. I think that's exactly the thing I'm doing. I hope. You cheeky Batman. In theory, you might be right. In praxis, I think you could also go with smaller numbers. There's different ways to adjust playability of units, I feel. Points is a relative term. That's one thing I really like about Frostgrave. Even if you don't have any money left, you still can hire some thugs fight with you because they don't cost any money. Okay, they're not as good as a soldier or a knight, but still miniatures on the board. And it's up to you how you play them. Coffee time is always nice, Doris. Please drink one for me as well. See, at that point level, I'm starting to think about the first big battles people did with Armageddon rules in, was it 6th or 7th edition of 40k? Where people would be playing across table. Next one. Yeah, the wash actually does something. That's good. That's good. Now, these Armageddon battles way back then were interesting when people actually got together for a whole weekend and set up tables in rows and rows with large vehicles, monsters, and stompy things. Yeah, that's the big thing in our hobby in general, I feel. Owning all the nice shiny toys. Ignoring the fact that when they arrive at your doorstep, unlike toys of your childhood, they do not come pre-assembled, pre-painted, or anything. I mean, if I would have unlimited funds, I'd be surely playing a lot of different games. Or I say play, collect. Maybe even paid. I think that's a thing I'd never give anybody any money for, painting my miniatures. That just feels wrong on a very basic level. Yeah, that multi-purpose approach is a very good one, Amanda. And that's where I, again, really love Frostgrave. Because you can use any generic fantasy miniature in there. The only thing that still keeps creeping back in my head is how to get all the monsters I need to be playing campaigns later on. That's going to be an interesting one. I mean, I have some, mostly funded, but I think at some point I need something different. See you in a bit, Rebooty Goblin. Let's hope your updates don't crash your system. Microsoft has released some updates in the last few days again that actually makes life worse. You'd think they would test their code, but since the code they are now deploying is mostly AI generated, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, but still, reasonably priced is still money. And I'm someone who really wants all of the monsters that are on that table. Or in that list you roll your dice on. So I'm self-inflicting monetary wounds on myself with that. But we have only played one game so far, so we will see on how this is going to go on. There's a very, very simple question you should ask yourself, Amanda. Is all your software you're using, including games, running on other systems? If yes, don't go for Windows 11. If no, grab the free upgrade, try it. If you don't like it, you could still revert to something different. I'd like to go with Linux like on my laptop, but my accounting software for taxes and doing stuff is not running on Linux. Not for life nor money. And I'm pretty much stuck with it. So I'm guessing there will be an upgrade in the future. But I will assure you, I will make certain that most phone home features of Windows 11 will be cut. There are some freely available tools out there that make life a lot easier for people who want to not shell out all their information to Redmond. Oh, that's a shame if you can't get a free upgrade. I forgot something. Frostgrave in 10 mil. I'm not sure if that's actually getting cheaper because the Frostgrave minis from Northstar are relatively cheap, especially since the boxes have multiples. So far, I've bought one box of Wizard and one box of Soldiers, totaling roughly something around 50 euros. I guess I need to check prices. And there's enough in there for actually 3 players simultaneously. If you get creative. Let's go back to Windows XP. No, let's not. I had my time with Windows XP, but I kinda got comfy with Windows 7. That was a good working operating system. Once they got all the necks hammered out. Seven was okay. With 10, the big enshittification began on my part. With so many features wanting to be online all the time, sending your data back to Mr. Gates and friends. Red Rose, please tell me that the company you work for uses those systems separated from any kind of internet. I mean, I've seen a report on a garage in a car repair shop in Poland, I think it was, 1 or 2 years ago, that is still running on their Commodore 64, which is awesome. I mean, thanks to the modern tech of virtualization, you can actually have a old operating system in a relatively safe container running and getting to work with certain games. But for the love of God, don't let that thing into the internet. I do remember once being with a customer way back when, and he just opened the Internet Explorer and he wasn't online for like 5 minutes, and every malware you can imagine started trying to install themselves on his PC. A nightmare. Yes, technically speaking, you're correct. Old hardware with the appropriate software is the better way to go. But it's getting increasingly hard to find old hardware in good working conditions. Especially with power supplies dying and CPUs not being replaceable anymore because there's no parts left. Old PCs have all gone in the bin because they all went kaput. With the exception of my Commodore 64. That's still sitting in the garage waiting for me to find time and money and motivation to get it fixed up again. It will be with me this year for 38 years. I'm pretty sure all my floppy disks by now have crumbled into nothingness. Goodbye, Moustache. Talk to you on Mastodon. Oh, and speaking of Mastodon, that's one point. So now we can go back to the beginning of the show where I was a bit ranty about Asmodee. So they sent out a newsletter with, we have got a new logo and company and blah yada yada. Please follow us on social media. Face page, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, X. I mean, come on, people. It's not that hard. If you're already running multiple social medias at once, where's the harm in doing something in the federated universe? You bloody bastards. I must say I'm not too happy with the results of today. I'm happy that I did manage to accomplish some painting. But overall, I feel that could have gone better. Yes, Blue Sky is one of these in-betweens. Technically not a federated universe thing, but still available to interact if people do what you call it, care to make the bridges work. But all in all, it's still a company like X and FacePage, even though they are trying or saying that they are trying to be better. Yeah, time will tell. Not holding my breath on that. Speaking of time and will tell, I think there needs to be something changed here. Turn off the lights. The lights have gone. Yes, that's the best thing, Amanda. Enjoy it while it lasts. People, you might notice some sweaty bits on my not insignificant forehead. We're above 28 degrees now here inside. I'm dying. I think paint needs to dry too. Thanks everybody for being here. Hope to see you next week together with Gerry again, if he has gotten his sleep schedule back on track by then. You take care out there. Looking forward to the weekender. I'm pretty sure there will be a weekender, and I will see you a lot next week. Until then, you lovely sausages. Goodbye.